All right. Uh, Welcome everybody to CTL workshop today. By very popular demand, Jake Kelly is going to join us today from Tech Services to talk to us about the apps that are available to us on our computers and maybe phones on Google Suite. The idea behind this was to make it a two-part series so that we could learn about some of the apps today and have a second session to do some follow-up or other apps as well, however Jake wants to direct us on this. So if you get a lot out of this, I'd like you to join us again for part two, which will be on March 5th. Spread the word for others who might get benefit from this. So Jake, thank you for joining us. I'm going to turn it over to you.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, so I think what we'll do today, we'll kind of cover some of the little hidden gems, wonderful things about Gmail that we probably have all overlooked that can help us out quite a bit. We'll go over groups that we have in Google, which is a fun feature, can be very helpful for people that yield a lot of the same questions over the same thing over and over, which, for teaching and working on campus, that's a big thing that we do. And then we'll do some questions and I'll cover the drive. And next time we'll get into docs and sheets and all the different files and what you can do with all that fun stuff. So, and what I'll try to do is I'll talk for a few minutes about a couple things, and then if you guys have questions, feel free to hop in and ask. So that way we're not waiting till the end to answer questions, because by then you or I will probably forget what we wanted to talk about. So let me pull up and share my screen and we'll get started. And find the right one. All right. Has everybody got me? Good. Okay. So one of the first things that I guess I want to talk about is there are differences when you use Google Chrome versus other browsers. So if you are a Chrome user, there's a lot of things that you can capture with Chrome. Personally, I am not, but there are a lot of things you can do with Chrome that are built-in features that Google will access and make useful. One of the good things, like in Google Meet, if you use Chrome, whenever you're in a meeting, you can have the different blurry backgrounds or whatever. So that way, whatever you have in the background, Google doesn't necessarily have backgrounds, but they allow you to do different features to hide what's in the background. But you have to be using Chrome to access that. All of your bookmarks and whatnot from machine to machine can come over in Chrome if you log into it and use it as a browser on all of your different machines, different devices. And then if you use Android on your phone also, then Chrome can sync between your Android and your computers for all your different accounts. So that's kind of a nice feature also. But I just, for some reason, I've never been a Chrome user. I've always been a Firefox user. Maybe that's showing my age a little bit, but compared to what the kids are doing now, but that's where I am. I can't let go of it. So let's go in first. Let's go talk about Gmail. So when you're logged in to your account at Missouri Western, you always see this little symbol that's the Google Apps. And if you click on that, you'll see everything that we've got access to through campus. Then you'll see some basic Google different things. And then you may or may not have some of these different ones down at the bottom. Some of them we don't have turned on, like Google Classroom, we don't have turned on for everybody on campus because we have Canvas, and Canvas does everything Google Classroom could do and more. But it is a good tool for like the education department, for their teachers to teach their students about, because when they go out and start teaching in elementary, middle, and high schools, that's a tool they might have at their disposal. So we've got it turned on for them, but not for everybody. So if there's anything Google offers that you don't see on your list when you go down here, that's a discussion that we can have about what the uses might be for it and whether or not we turn it on. Because if I switch to, I don't have my other account on here, but if I would switch to my personal Google account, then you can see a whole bunch of different apps that are available, because it varies by type of account. And here at Missouri Western, some things we have turned on and some we don't. So that's always a conversation that we can talk about if there's something out there that you know you like that you want to turn on. So if we go to mail first, you'll get to see my wonderful mess of an inbox here. And the big things with Gmail that I really like is your ability to change the way that you see things, right? So up here next to your little apps button is the settings button. If you click on that, then you can change the way your email looks. You can make it from spread out to compact, depending on how you like to look at things, change your theme, change the way your inbox is. So you can either do important first, bring your unreads to the top, just leave it so they're all mixed together, as they come in. And then you can also do like a split pane. So if you did this, like half of my browser window would show my inbox just like this. And if I click on a message, instead of doing a little pop-up window to pull it up, then it just displays it in the other section. It's a functionality a lot like what I can't even remember the name of it anymore because I haven't used it in so long. The mail app that Microsoft has on Windows.
Outlook.
Outlook, there you go. See, so it's a functionality to make it look a lot like Outlook, where all of your mails are listed on one side, and then the message would display in the middle for you. And then you can also, here, there's a little button that you can click to toggle that on and off. And then as you select different messages, then it'll display it. And you can, change the size, do whatever. Anything in Google, you can always move around and change the size. So that's kind of nice. Different things that you can do with it. Another real quick feature that I really like is this side pane. And I'm going to get out of this before I forget. But in this side pane here, you can customize the apps that you have display there. So like I can put my calendar in here and it'll just show everything on my calendar right there in the side of my browser window. And I don't have to open up calendar in a different window. I can just have everything right there.
How did you get calendar to come up?
So do you have the little bar on
No.
So at the very bottom, is there a little button that looks like this that says show or hide side panel?
Yes.
So if you click that so it shows,
Aha.
then that brings it out.
There it is.
And then calendar should be there by default. But if not, you can always hit the plus button and that allows you to add a whole bunch of different things. So that allows you to customize that little sidebar. And then from any of these apps, so if I've got my calendar open and then I want to open it up into a bigger window, up at the top of them, there's the open a new tab button that you can always click, and that'll open it up in your different views. You don't have much of an option here. You can go in and select the calendars that it shows. And that's really the only other thing that I would say is very useful about this, is you can go in and see what calendars you do use or you don't use, and put them up there. And then another thing that I use quite a bit, not on my Missouri Western account, but on my personal account, is Google Notes, because it's just a real simple note-taking tool. Like there used to be the notes on the desktop in Windows. It may still be there, but since Google came, I love it. You can put notes in about anything, and then it'll transfer from device to device. And that's just a good little handy tool for reminders that I've found. And then by default, you also have tasks. I've never used tasks, but basically it's kind of just like notes, but it allows you to check things off when you're done. So it'll throw up a list of all the things that you've pinned as your tasks to do for the day or the week or a project. And then you can check them off as you're done with them. Okay, so that's a real quick and dirty kind of look at it. Probably don't have any questions about that before we go into a few of the bigger features, but if you do, I'll pause for a minute and you can ask. No? Okay. So next we'll go back into the settings. But if we scroll down, is it gonna let me see it? Hold on, let me. I got too many windows in the way. So, oh, it's different on Chrome. See, so this is the thing. So you've got a see all settings button on Chrome at the top, but when I opened it in Firefox, on my other one, it was down at the bottom. But if we click on see all settings, then this opens up a big window of stuff that we can do. It's got all the normal, spell check, grammar check, all that fun stuff that you can turn on or off. But then, and this is where you add your signature in if you want to do a signature line, and then also your vacation responder. So if you're out of the office, you can put in when it starts, when it stops, and whatever message you want to do, and it'll automatically start it on that day, stop it on the end date, and then you can leave it till the next time that you leave. So that is a handy little feature that I think most people use and know about, but if you don't, that's something kind of neat that you don't have to set various vacation reminders. You can do it there for whenever it is, and then just update it as needed. Okay, and then the other extremely helpful thing in here is the filters. So you can set up filters to separate your inbox, basically, so all of your mail doesn't come in and get in this big, long, messy line like you saw that happens in mine. So I can make different labels. So I've got labels for various different things. I can use those and automatically filter emails as they come in into those different inboxes, basically, into those different labels. So if I wanted to go into my labels, then I can create a new one. And I'm just going to call this inbox 2 for now. And I don't want to put it underneath the label. So if I nest it, that means that becomes a child little folder of a larger one. So it's just a way that I can break them apart. And maybe like if you teach courses, I might want to create a label that is like Spring 2020 courses. And then I don't want to nest that one, but then if I know I'm going to teach, we're going to make something up, Tech 101, then I want to nest that under my Spring 2020 courses. Oh, it jumped on last second. And then what I can do with the filters that I'll show you next is once I've got all my courses made, I can come in here, and if I have a list of my students, if I have certain things that I tell them to put in the subject line, then I can filter those off automatically out of my inbox into those different folders. So that way I know I don't miss anything coming from my students in the course. And the same thing can be done for basically any group of people or any type of message. So if I want to create a new filter, then I can either say anything that is from this email address, anything that I send to a certain email address, I can filter off into it. Anything in the subject line. So let's say if I teach this course, I'm going to tell my students, you have to put Tech 101 in the subject line. So when you send me an email, put that in the subject line so I know that it's you. And then if I do that, and then I hit done too early. Go back in because I didn't save it. So if I do that, then what I can do is I can say, okay, anything with this subject, I'm going to put into, I'm going to say it's going to skip the inbox, or I can say I'm going to apply my label. And I'm going to go down to, I know I've got a billion folders. I'm going to go down to that Tech 101 label, and that's where I'm going to send all of this stuff. So I can create that filter. So anything with Tech 101 in the subject line now is going to skip the inbox, and it's going to go straight to that label. So I can check every day, okay, Tech 101 in my spring courses, what do I got that's new? And then I can do that for every course. Or I can set it up by person. So if I want to say create a new, and I know anything from Jake Kelly, and I can pick on my mother because she's here, and Robin Kelly goes into this folder because I know that we're both in Tech 101. So I can say those two people, hit create the filter, same thing. I'm going to skip the inbox on it, and I'm going to put it into that label for that course. But I'm not going to create this one because then anything that she tries to send me will start going in there. So that's a way you can filter and kind of lessen the pressure on your inbox, because it's very easy to get behind and lose these emails and kind of lose where you're at. So use your labels and use your filters in order to move things around, and you can always have them over here in your side menu, and that'll allow you to very quickly and easily find where you go. And if you notice, anything that's new, there will be a number. So I know I don't have anything new in this folder, but oh, I've got 3 new ones here. So I need to check that folder and see what that is. So that's a good way to kind of shrink how big your inbox is. Any questions on that? That's kind of a big one.
Hey, Jake.
Yes.
When you were setting up your filter, you could do sender to subject line, and then one of the options was has the words.
Correct.
So is that has the words in the email or has the words in the subject line?
Has the words in the email.
Okay.
So that one I don't recommend unless it's a very specific word, right?
Yeah.
So if you're too general with that, then things that you don't want filtering off could filter off. So yeah, I don't recommend using has the words or doesn't have or size. I mean, there's not really, I think well, I know that we don't have a limit as far as how much we can have. So filtering those things off really doesn't help anything, but.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Any other questions from anyone? Okay. So.
Question from Ed.
Yes, sir.
Ed asks, did you say that we could import an email list from a class, or would we have to add each Tech 101 student individually, ?
For here, yeah, you would have to add them individually.
Okay.
So, but if you have a list, like if you have a list of them in Excel that you can comma separate, then you can copy all of it and paste it right in there, as long as there's a comma in between.
Sounds good.
So every address, because it'll do it automatically. It just adds the comma after when you add it. So as long as there's a comma in there, then you're good. Okay. All right. So now let's go back. And we probably better wrap up Gmail. Oh, I'm in settings. I'm like, well, I want to go to settings. Good job, Jake. So the other things in here, mail forwarding can be a good one. If you guys have like general department emails, mail forwarding is something you're probably either using or someone has set it up for you in the past, that you can forward all emails from one to a different one. So that's another nice, easy thing. Or you can also, like Google says here, you can also create a filter that does it. So just anything that comes in, you could send it to 2 people, 3 people, however many you want that way. And then normally you probably don't have any add-ons. You can turn the Hangouts on or off on the side of your side window here. And then there's also now with Google Meet, when you go on to somebody, you can go straight to a video call through Google Meet with them. So that's functions you can turn on or off in your settings here. And then the last one is themes. You can set the theme straight from this menu or from your quick menu. But I like dark themes. It's easier on my eyes. So that's why everything looks black on mine. And I set everything, my phone and everything's the same way. It just seems to be easier than having a white background. So that's some pretty quick features of Gmail. Do you guys have anything else that you can think about that you might like to do with Gmail that you don't know if it's possible or not?
So Jake, actually, I'm looking and I think how do you get something like that orange that's showing up next to Melissa Mace's email to you, received 4 days ago reply? How do you get that to show up?
Oh, that is called nudges.
Okay.
And honestly, I'm going to tell you, mine turned on automatically when Google first released it. It was turned on automatically. So I don't know. Let me look real
I
quick.
think it's in the
That's okay.
settings.
Knowing what it's called, I can figure it out. I think that would be immensely helpful for
Yeah.
the way that I organize things. Thank you.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, in the settings is nudges, where you can suggest you ones to reply to and follow up on. So the only bad thing is if you filter them out of your inbox, then the nudges won't work. So it's just in your inbox. And then the other thing is, even if you don't really need to respond and you just haven't moved it out of your inbox, then the nudges will continue to show up. But it's usually just a week and then they go away after a week. So, and that's one thing I do too. With mine is I separate the unread at the top and then everything else at the bottom, just because it can get a little crazy. And I'm not very good at, when I finish something, I'm not very good at filing it away. So I get quite a bit of stuff that lingers in my inbox. So that's something, depending on how you like to organize stuff. Okay, anybody else? Any more questions? Okay. Next, while we're talking about email, let's talk a little bit about groups. Groups is a wonderfully underutilized feature. Groups basically can fulfill the need of a listserv. It can be a storage place for emails that allows you to communicate with people. So it's kind of like a forum and an email storage deposit and a discussion board all in one. So I don't know if I can. Of course, on here it won't let me. So if you have a group, let me pull up Firefox, because Firefox, I've got my outside ones, which is really, at Missouri Western, nobody has used groups, and we'll talk about how to set them up. But I want to show you one. That, or maybe if because I have, there we go. That's where they, nope. Should be in my outside. I've got a Canvas users group that I'm part of, but of course, when I want to use it, nothing is showing up.
Well, it sounds like you're a liar, Jake.
I know. Oh, okay, here we go. I got to go to recent. That's where it pops up. So now we found it. So if we create a group, what this does is it gives you a generic email that you can add a bunch of users into a group. Then you have a generic email like a listserv email that you can send emails to, and that archives them all in here and keeps them separate, so that way if let's say I'm teaching a class and a kid asks me a question about the syllabus. Well, if I have created a group, put all the kids in my course in that group and tell them, here's the email address, send all your questions that are course related, not grade related, right? Because if it's something about their grade, you don't want it here. But if it's course related and they send it to this group, then it will archive it here. So the next person that has a question, instead of emailing you and then you having to answer the same question 37 times, they can come in here and say, oh, their Docker's not forwarding ports. I have that same problem. And I can click on the email and I can see what that person sent and then if there's a reply to it. So that one's pretty new, but so I can see the original email that was sent to this group. And then he actually did a little clarification follow-up and then the different people that responded to him. And what this also kind of allows is for your students to also be able to answer each other. So if you have a group of students that are all in here, if one of them asks a question about the syllabus, then the email will go out to all of them. And then whoever knows the answer could go in and answer it and maybe take care of the problem before you have time to. And then the next person that has that knows that that email was sent out and maybe that keeps them from asking the same question. And then you get questions and over. And it just keeps a whole list of all of these and you could run it forever, but especially doing it by course is awesome because then it really gives an archive of all the things people have emailed about for the course. And then also at the end of the course, it may help you put together like a frequently asked questions thing that you could send out, with the next semester or that you could address so the kids maybe wouldn't have those questions moving forward. It's also could be very helpful like on campus for committees. So if you're part of a committee, you make a group, then everything that you work between that committee would be stored in here to where you know where it's at, everybody's got access to it and nothing gets lost. And then as committee members change and you move forward, then you can add the new people to the group and it keeps that running track of everything that has been done through email, of course, but everything that has been done. So that way you don't have to ask questions over and over. And it also makes it very easy that any documents that you do on the drive, anything like that, you link to them in an email and you just send the email to the group that says, here's the links to our files. You put them in there and then that also becomes a part of that archive, even though it's all within Google. Okay, so the key to groups though is you have to create the group and then you have to go in and add members. You can change it that it's public. So if I go back to my groups, I'll hit the create button here and I'll just call this one. So we can call that. I can do the group email. It automatically mimics what you do for the group name. And then at Missouri Western, we have it ends with the -user and then at missouriwestern.edu. I can change what this group email is. So I can just call it CTL Google and get rid of the dashes, make it a little bit cleaner and a little bit nicer. And then I can make it a basic Google group or I can have it just through us. Once I do that, I can I want only the people in here to be able to find this group. anyone at Missouri Western can find it, or anyone at all on the web that searches in groups for it could be able to find it. And then joining is the same thing. People you invite, anybody at Missouri Western, or then anybody outside can either ask or can just automatically join. And then conversation viewing, you can do the same thing. I can make it so everyone in the group can see the conversations, or I can make it so only me as the owner can see it. We don't have turned on entire organization or anyone outside that can view these conversations. So if that is something that we're looking at, then we can talk about that. Posting, though, we can make it so anybody at Missouri Western can post, or anyone on the web, public open, can get in and see it. Most of the time, though, this stuff you're going to want to leave just for the group members. Then the next screen, this is where I can add different people to the group. And then I can name who are the people that are the managers that can remove conversations, remove people, all that kind of fun stuff. I would be the owner as default. I can add multiple owners. And then I can send a welcome message to everybody that needs to see it, and then hit create, and that will make it. I'm not going to create it for now, but then once it's created, you'll see the email address right here. Give that to everybody in the group, and then that's the email address they use to send to, and then that will start storing it within the group. Any questions about groups?
Well, Kay has a question.
Yes.
From the chat, she says that in my groups, I see an ID for a group, students in a class, who I sent an email to. Is there a way to rename that group and then keep it and reuse it when I want to email the class?
So to rename, is that in chat?
Yeah, it is.
Let me open up chat so that way I can read it and make sure that I answer this correctly.
Yeah, what I've got, it's 202120.24161.
Holy moly.
And that's what the name of the group is. And that was, I sent something to the class, and, you know, I went to my summary class list and copied that email list. It's at the bottom of that summary class list.
Mhm.
Pasted that in, and that's how I emailed the whole class. And I'm wondering, I've done that. I guess I could do that to set up a group, but I was just wondering if there was a way to just take that one-time email and just turn it into a group somehow.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So, it also, so mine has done the same thing. And if I click on it, it says that there's only one member. So it only kind of enrolled me as sender in the group. So it's like everybody else isn't even in it from copying that email.
So yeah, I'll have to look and see what we can do with the course list, because you're just pulling, basically you're going through the one that's in Banner, right? The email all.
So I think it actually is the Canvas code.
Okay.
When I look at it, because it's and Kay.
Oh, that could
correct
be
me
what it is, because I
Yeah.
did send some announcements from Canvas. So yeah, that could be what
Yeah,
it is.
that's what I think it probably is. And that's why it's only attaching to, on mine, it definitely is only attached to my email address because it came
Oh.
from the group to me through
Yeah.
Canvas.
Oh, interesting. Now mine's showing everybody.
Okay.
You're luckier than I am then.
We'll check it out and I'll see what we can do with that. Because I don't know if Canvas has a connection to groups or not. It may just be something that is not really well known or used much, but I'll see about that and we'll follow up with that one because that would be nice. Okay. Any other questions?
Jake, I don't want two different email groups. So let's say there are emails that are being passed around in my group, but I don't want to have to open up group to know that there's been an email. Will this connect to my Gmail, or can I connect it to my Gmail?
Yeah, this will come to you as a group member.
Okay.
Then you can come to see all the conversations is when you come into groups.
Okay.
Now, if you're part of the group and you get an email with a question, then you reply straight to that email just like anything else. And then this archives it.
Okay.
So it's kind of just like the connector for everything.
Sounds good.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, so we talked about email, talked about groups. Now we got a little bit of time left that we can talk about, start talking about the drive. And then, like I said, next time we'll get into all the different files and all the different types of documents and things that you can make and all the different fun ways to use them. But here first we'll talk about organization a little bit and sharing and all of that. And the next one is what, 2 weeks, March 5th, I think. Yeah, so make sure you come back for that one so we can continue those conversations. So let's go, if we go to the drive, a lot of this is probably a mess. As Google has transformed and changed some things, you know, in very early stages, there wasn't much to it. And I haven't been in and cleaned up since all of that. So there's a lot of functionality now with the drive that allows you quick access to shared documents. It allows you the ability to edit real time with other people, do all kinds of fun stuff. And we'll go through all of that next time. For today, let's talk about how we would recommend setting up your drive. So a new feature that is wonderful, and it's new within the past year or two, so that's, you know, relatively new, is the shared drives over here on the side. So by default, when you come in, you have your drive space. And what that used to be the entirety of what the drive was. You know, you'd put folders, files, all of that in here, and then basically you could share it with other people, but you were the one that owned it. The introduction of shared drives has kind of changed that. So now if you make a drive, you put people on it, and then you all co-own that space. So, you know, if I have a bunch of documents in my drive and I leave Missouri Western and my account is deactivated, they don't disappear or they don't get erased, but they'll disappear from other people if I haven't made anyone else an editor on the file. So if I've only given like viewer only access, if my account gets deactivated, then that'd disappear from your ability to view it. So the introduction of the shared drive now allows us to kind of transcend those boundaries. So anyone that adds to it, if they leave, it doesn't affect it. Everything is stored and saved in that space because it's separated from you as a person now. The shared drives is how I would recommend doing everything that you can that you're working with different people. You can even make groups of people on shared drives, and then you can add different people to them. So they're very easy to make. We're unlimited at Missouri Western, right? So if I hit new on my shared drive, give it a title. If I, keeping with our tradition of today, if I want to say this is my shared drive for Technology 101, then that creates this space that we can store, that we can work. It's very good. Your students can create these, or you can create them and give access to different pieces for your students. So if, let's say, if I have in this course, I've got 3 different groups that I want to add in, then I can either add all of them straight in as members, or I can come in to the shared drive, and now I'm in. Once again, I shouldn't have done this in Chrome because I'm used to different spots. But I should be able to, which I might not because I don't have people on here. Probably not because I don't have people. But so first, if I want to, let's add a couple people on here. Oh, except I sent you a notification, sorry. But if I add a couple people on here, now I have the ability to give them different rights, just like I have. So I can say they can manage all the content, or they can add different people, they can change the settings, or they can just add and delete files. They can view stuff, or they can view files and make comments on them. That's what a commenter can do. So they can go in, when you open, we'll talk about the different files, you can make comments on them. That's a different role that you can allow people to have. If I want to, then I can find the correct spot. I'm going to cheat again and go look at mine in look at it in Firefox so I can remember what it's called to change my settings. I'm horrible. And that's one thing about that drives me nuts with Google. Not much does. I love Google. I've given in to their power, but one thing that drives me nuts is the difference between different browsers, how things can change just a little bit, that it kind of makes them hard to find if you are working in a different environment. Well, I don't know. Okay, so we'll just do it this way. So when you're in your shared space, if you right click on where it says drop files, create something new, then you can either upload files, upload a folder, you can create new folders, you can drag stuff from your desktop and it will upload it and throw it in there. And all of these types of things are really easy to do. I can just throw stuff in. And then one nice thing that I can do here is, let's say if I have 2 different groups of students, I can add a couple folders that I say this is going to be my 2 folders. I can put any documents that I want in the different folders. And then I can change the permissions on the folders to only show to different people. So as the teacher, if I want to have one shared drive that I have all my groups, I've got my students working in group projects, I can put all my groups in different folders where they can only see their folder coming in here, but I can go in and monitor and look at the work that everybody's done. And that's really awesome that they have done that now, that I can share the folders within, that I can say, okay, this one is going to be for Dom, and then I can say the other one is going to be for me, and then the third one's going to be for my mom. So then I've got 3 groups. They can look at different stuff. They don't know the other people exist, or I can do view only so they can see what the other people are doing, but not, work on the same documents, do that kind of stuff. Depends, completely how you want to do it. But it's just a really neat way to have a collaborative space online and not take the chance of them working over one another or missing out on the ability to work on it because somebody else is working on it. It really allows sharing and compatibility, between the different people in the groups, if it's students, if it's coworkers, whatever. It's just a lot of flexibility, and it doesn't hinge on one single person once you make the shared drive. Your drive works the same. You can add folders, you can add files, you can do all of that. I can share these with whoever I want. I can download the folders out of my drive. If I share a folder with someone, when they come into my drive, then it shows up under this next little spot that says shared with me. And these are all the things that I don't own, but that I have access to, which is different than the things that I do own. Now, if I go into shared drives, then everything that everyone has put in, it shows up as its own little space. And we don't have any type of groups on this one. So it all shows up together. I can see everything, and everybody can work together and do what they need to do. So it's like its own separate little workspace, and they're unlimited storage for us. So there's no need to worry about running out of space. It's extremely easy to add people, and you don't have to use Google Documents. You can upload Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint. It's really just a storage space. But if you do use it in conjunction with Google Apps for the different document types, then it allows you to just click on them, it opens, and you can work on it, automatically saves, and then you don't have to worry about what version you're saving or any of that. And especially for kids working, the students working on group projects, if they know for sure they're all working on the same document that's updated the same, and they haven't shipped around 40 different versions of a document through email, it really, really does help. And then if they do something in Word or Excel, they will have to remember, if they're downloading and working on it, that they need to re-upload it and replace. So it's the newest file, but it just doesn't have the same collaborative workspace if you do that versus using the Google document types. So any questions there? I know it was kind of quick. I wanted to make sure we got that all covered.
I have one question, and maybe you've covered this, but I wasn't sure that how it fit in. But so let's say I want to create a shared drive so that my students can submit assignments that are too large, like a documentary or something like that. Can I create just a class drive where they can drop it in, where only I can see it, but other students who want to drop stuff in, they can't see everybody else's stuff?
So limit by. So if I create a drive and I want to add them, I don't know if it will. I think the only way that you could do it is basically you would have to create a folder for each student
Right.
and then give them access just to that folder.
So it would probably, with this scenario, be much easier that the student simply stores it in Google
And then
Drive and shares it with me.
Yeah. If it's
Okay.
something that, I guess it depends. If it's something that you want to hold on to and don't want to have to download, then, it's worth the time if there's not too many, because you're just, right clicking, new folder,
Yeah.
their name on it, boom, add them to it. And then that kind of allows you to hold on to it. And really, too, it would give you a space to build over the years.
Okay.
So if it's something that you do every semester, and it would be nice to have all of them every semester in one place moving forward, then you just are using your drive to continue adding folders for all the students that you have, and it's all in that one space. So,
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Kay asks, if I have an old shared drive from a previous semester, how do I delete it?
So, I don't know if you click on the file name or the drive name, right click on it, then it should bring up where you can delete the shared drive. And then that should get rid of it. From the list, yeah, you can't do it from the list. You have to click into the drive, it looks like.
Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, if there's people on it, it probably won't let you delete it. That's what I'm guessing. Because this one, it wouldn't let me do it. If I remove all the people.
You're still on it.
Nope, I'm still.
Is it because there's stuff in it?
There might be. Let's see. It won't even give me what the. We'll see what it does.
Oh.
No?
Because we gotta have, if I remove me, let's see what that does. We'll change your permission. You won't be able to share. So no, that doesn't.
Okay, that's a great question.
That's a good one. So if you've done nothing, it's easy to delete it. And then I might have to Google that one. We'll see.
But make sure you Google it on Firefox.
That's right. That is correct.
Okay, Jake, I have a question.
Yep.
And I think you've answered this already, but I get confused all the time, the difference between shared drives and shared with me, because I believe they're both still shared with me. So I get confused on the difference between those two.
So the shared with me are files that a person owns. So like if I uploaded a file and then into my drive, right? So let's say I go into my drive and I upload this file. Okay, then I am the owner of it. Then I can give you, I gotta close, now I gotta find it. Oh, come on, didn't you put it in there? Come on. Oh, I bet it's stuck in the folder.
And Jake, when you're done with this, Kay has a solution for us.
Oh, good. Yeah, so once I get a file to upload, now we can do it on one of these. So if I bring up, or if I upload a file into my drive and then I want to share it with people, right? I am the owner. I'm the only owner of it, and I can add different people on, and they can edit it, they can make comments, or they can view only. But I'm the only person that can delete that file, that can do anything like that. If I go into shared drives, the files that are in these spaces are owned by anyone that's in that space. So I can set it so all of this stuff is owned by everyone in the group. So that way, if I leave, that file's not attached to me anymore. It remains in this drive, and anyone that's a member of this drive can be the owner of it, basically. So anyone can, like, if I upload this, then someone else can edit it, delete this one, and upload a new one. So it takes the ownership away from a single person and makes it part of the group. Okay, Kay, you figured it out.
Yeah, okay, so come on. I don't know why my videos, there it goes.
No.
Okay, I had to delete all the members except me. Fortunately, there weren't many members. It was like I was looking at a small student group.
Yeah.
And delete all the documents from the group. Then I had to go click on a different shared drive.
Go out and back in.
And back in, and then I could delete it.
Yeah.
That was the missing step, was clicking on a different shared drive.
Click out of it and then go back into it.
Yeah.
It probably holds what you've deleted to make sure you really wanted to delete it until you click off of it. Yeah, because it's all in the trash. So yeah, it probably holds it just in case you're like have to do the oops.
Yeah.
So then once you click back in it, then you can delete it.
Awesome. Thank you, Kay.
All right. Any other questions?
Well, thank you, Jake.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming.
I think what we'll do is if you have other things that you'd like to ask about, obviously we can always ask Jake. And as you can tell, his email list, his email doesn't get backed up very often. So won't be much of a problem.
Yeah.
But if we have other questions, he's going to offer up part 2, which will be on March 5th, Friday, 1 o'clock. So that will be the CTL's next workshop. And then just for looking ahead, Dr. Evan Hart is going to be hosting a workshop through the CTL on microaggressions. So think about how we use them in the workplace, in the classroom, in our interpersonal relationships. And that will be on April 16, again, Friday at 1 o'clock. And we will have advertising for that coming out soon. So if that's all for today, spread the word. This recording will appear on the CTL website and the CTL YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Jake. So thank you, Jake.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
And yes, Robin, I will send you that link right away. Okay, bye.